Great Wall Motor just unveiled an 8-cylinder touring bike that costs less than a used Goldwing. I know what you're thinking, cheap Chinese junk. That is what I thought too, until I looked at the specs. These are not budget clones anymore. We are talking legitimate performance machines with tech that matches or beats anything coming out of Europe or Japan. And the pricing? It is about to trigger the biggest competitive crisis the motorcycle industry has seen in decades. Let's start with the bike that is making headlines and freaking out every touring manufacturer on the planet. The Souo S2000 GL is a 2,000 cubic centimeters inline 8-cylinder touring motorcycle. That is not a typo. 8 cylinders. It is basically 2 sport bike engines joined together, and it puts out more than 160 horsepower. The red line sits at 6,000 revolutions per minute, with a top speed around 150 miles per hour. This is not some concept bike either. Great Wall Motor showed production-ready units with full electronics, adaptive cruise control, cornering ABS, heated grips, heated seats, and a complete TFT dashboard. Estimated pricing sits between $15,000 and $18,000. Compare that to a Honda Goldwing at $28,000, a BMW K600 Grand America at $27,000, or an Indian Roadmaster at $32,000. You're looking at the same feature set for literally half the price. That is not a small gap, that is market-destroying territory. The tech package matches what you would find on premium European tourers. Adaptive cruise that adjusts speed based on traffic. Cornering ABS that accounts for lean angle. Full LED lighting. Keyless ignition. Electronically adjustable suspension. Tire pressure monitoring. The whole list. These are not features you would expect on a budget bike. This is flagship-level equipment. Great Wall Motor is not some startup either. They are one of the 25 largest automotive manufacturers in the world. They have been building cars for decades with automotive-grade production standards. That means real quality control, actual research and development budgets, and manufacturing capacity that dwarfs traditional motorcycle companies. When they decided to enter the motorcycle market, they did not aim for the budget segment. They went straight for the premium touring category. The threat to established brands is immediate. Goldwing sales have been declining for years. The average Goldwing buyer is in their 60s, and younger riders are not replacing them because $28,000 is too much for a touring bike they will use twice a year. But $16,000? That changes the math. Suddenly, touring becomes accessible to riders who were previously priced out of the segment. The same logic applies to BMW's K600 lineup. BMW charges a premium for German engineering and build quality. But if a Chinese manufacturer can deliver the same features with automotive-grade quality control at half the price, what exactly are you paying for? The badge. That only works if the Chinese bike falls apart. If it does not, BMW has a serious problem. Indian and Harley face an even bigger threat. Their touring bikes are already overpriced compared to the competition. A Roadmaster at $32,000 versus a Souo at $16,000 is a brutal comparison. Harley C. VO models push $45,000. You could buy 2 Souos and still have money left over. The value proposition just does not work anymore. Then, there is the dealer network advantage. Great Wall Motor has existing automotive dealerships across Asia and is expanding into Europe. They are not starting from zero like a traditional motorcycle startup. They already have service centers, parts distribution, and trained technicians. The infrastructure is built. They just need to add motorcycle-specific training, which is minimal compared to building an entire dealer network from scratch. Warranty terms match or exceed traditional manufacturers. 2 to 3 years standard coverage versus 1 to 2 years from legacy brands. That signals confidence in the product. You do not offer extended warranties if you expect failures. This is not a bike targeting budget buyers. This is a direct assault on the premium touring segment, and it is working. The Souo is generating serious interest from riders who would normally buy Japanese or European. That is the market shift nobody saw coming. But the Souo is not alone. China is attacking the premium market across every segment, and the performance and adventure categories are being hit just as hard. Some of these bikes existed only on paper for a few years, but what is new is that they are now good enough, cheap enough, and global enough to matter. CFMOTO's 800mm T and 450mm T are legitimate adventure bikes with actual off-road capability. The 800mm T uses a 799 cubic centimeters parallel twin engine that puts out 95 horsepower. That's the same power range as the Yamaha Tenere 700 and the Aprilia Tuareg 660. The bike comes with a 21-inch front wheel, long travel suspension, and full electronics, including cornering ABS, traction control, and ride modes. Pricing sits around $9,000 to $10,000. Compare that to a Yamaha Tenere 700 at $11,000 or a Triumph Tiger 900 at $14,000. The 450mm T targets the middleweight adventure segment with a 450 cubic centimeters single-cylinder engine. It is positioned against bikes like the KTM 390 Adventure and the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Same story, full electronics, quality suspension, competitive power figures, and pricing that undercuts the competition by $1,000 to $2,000. CFMOTO is not guessing at this either. They have had a technical partnership with KTM for years. KTM engines have been manufactured in CFMOTO facilities. That means they have been learning from one of the best performance manufacturers in the business. The engineering knowledge transferred over. You can see it in the build quality and the way these bikes perform. QJMotor's SRK 800RR goes after the sport bike market. It is an 800 cubic centimeters parallel twin making 95 horsepower in a full fairing sport package. The bike uses technology developed through QJMotor's collaboration with Benelli. It is not copying Japanese sport bikes. It uses proven European design philosophy with Chinese manufacturing scale. The result is a bike that competes directly with the Yamaha R7 and Aprilia RS 660, but costs $2,000 to $3,000 less. Then there is Benda's LFC 700, which targets the cruiser market that European brands have basically abandoned. It is a 680 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine in a modern cruiser chassis, with full LED lighting, ABS, and fuel injection. Pricing sits around $7,000. That puts it between the Yamaha Bolt and Indian Scout, but with more modern features than either. The cruiser market has been stagnant for years because manufacturers kept building the same bikes with minimal updates. Benda looked at that gap and built something that appeals to younger riders who want cruiser style without the outdated technology. Voge's 525 DSX is another middleweight adventure bike, this time with a 494 cubic centimeter parallel twin engine that makes 47 horsepower. It is aimed at new riders and commuters who want adventure bike versatility without the weight and cost of a full-size adventure bike. The bike comes with Euro 5 emissions compliance, ABS, and a full digital dash. Pricing sits under $7,000. That is $2,000 less than comparable bikes from Japanese manufacturers. The common thread across all these bikes is Euro 5 emissions compliance. That is the current European emissions standard, and it is not easy to meet. Chinese manufacturers are not cutting corners on emissions or safety. They are building bikes that meet the same regulatory standards as European and Japanese brands. The engine architecture is not experimental either. Many Chinese manufacturers use licensed designs from Japanese companies or develop engines based on proven configurations. Parallel twins, single cylinders, and inline fours are established layouts with decades of development behind them. Chinese manufacturers are not reinventing the engine. They are using what works and manufacturing it at scale. Warranty coverage is competitive too. 2 to 3 years standard across most Chinese brands versus 1 to 2 years from legacy manufacturers. Parts availability is improving as dealer networks expand. Service intervals match industry standards. The reliability concerns that plagued Chinese bikes 10 years ago do not apply to these new models. The manufacturing quality has caught up. Then, there is the electric revolution, and this is where China does not just compete, they actually lead. The gap between Chinese electric motorcycles and Western brands is not close. It is embarrassing. NIU's RQi and RQi GT are the clearest examples. The RQi GT offers over 100 miles of real-world range, fast charging capability, and pricing under $10,000. Compare that to a Harley-Davidson Livewire at $22,000 for similar specs. You're paying more than double for the Harley badge. The performance numbers are nearly identical. Both bikes hit 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds. Both top out around 100 miles per hour. Both use similar battery capacity. The difference is, NIU builds thousands of electric two-wheelers every month. Harley builds a few hundred Livewires per year. Scale matters. The battery technology advantage is real. Chinese electric motorcycle manufacturers use automotive-grade cells from CATL and BYD. These are the same suppliers providing batteries for Tesla, BMW, and Ford. The cell chemistry is proven. The manufacturing quality is certified to automotive standards. Chinese electric vehicle manufacturers are not using experimental battery technology. They are using the best available technology and manufacturing it at massive scale. That scale creates a cost advantage Western manufacturers cannot match. Battery. A battery pack that costs a Chinese manufacturer $2,000 costs a Western manufacturer $4,000 for the same capacity. CATL produces more battery cells in a month than Zero Motorcycles uses in a year. When you're buying cells by the millions, you get pricing that small volume manufacturers cannot access. The vertical integration advantage is even bigger. Chinese manufacturers control the entire supply chain, from raw materials to final assembly. They are not buying batteries from one supplier, motors from another supplier, and controllers from a third supplier. They are manufacturing everything in-house or through closely integrated partners. That eliminates markup at every step and allows for faster iteration on design. Integration. Charging infrastructure in China is years ahead of Western markets. There are over 2 million public charging stations across China. The network is dense, reliable, and fast. That infrastructure was built to support the domestic electric vehicle market, but it works just as well for electric motorcycles. Chinese manufacturers design their bikes around an existing charging network. Western manufacturers are designing bikes and hoping infrastructure catches up. That is backwards. The Livewire problem illustrates the gap perfectly. Harley-Davidson spent years developing the Livewire. They invested heavily in the platform and spun it off into a separate brand. The result is a $22,000 motorcycle that does not offer any meaningful advantage over a $9,000 NIU. The range is similar, the performance is similar, the build quality is comparable. You are paying $13,000 extra for the name. Zero Motorcycles faces the same issue. Their SRF model starts at $19,000. It is a good bike with solid performance and decent range, but it is not $10,000 better than the Chinese alternatives. Zero has been building electric motorcycles for over a decade. They should have a technology advantage. They do not. Chinese manufacturers caught up and passed them in less than 5 years. Cost. The global expansion strategy for Chinese electric brands is already underway. They are entering Europe first because European emissions regulations favor electric vehicles and the charging infrastructure exists. Then, they will move into North America through existing automotive dealer networks. Great Wall Motor, Geely, and BYD already have automotive distribution in multiple countries. Adding electric motorcycles to their product lineup is straightforward. Why is electric China's strongest play? Because there is no legacy engine development to overcome. Internal combustion engines require decades of refinement. Electric powertrains are simpler. There are fewer moving parts. The technology is newer. Chinese manufacturers did not have to catch up on 50 years of engine development. They started at the same point as everyone else and moved faster. So what does all this actually mean for the brands we have trusted for decades? The problem is not just that Chinese bikes are cheaper. The problem is they cannot respond. European manufacturers face labor costs they cannot reduce. A factory worker in Germany or Italy costs 3 to 4 times what a factory worker in China costs. That is not a gap you close with efficiency improvements. That is structural. BMW cannot suddenly cut production costs by 50%. They are locked into their cost structure. Chinese manufacturers are not. The dealer network advantage makes it worse. Legacy brands rely on aging motorcycle-only dealerships. Those dealers are struggling. Foot traffic is down. Sales volumes are dropping. Many dealers survive on service revenue, not new bike sales. Chinese manufacturers are bypassing that entire system by using automotive dealer networks. Great Wall Motor, Geely, and other Chinese automotive companies already have showrooms and service centers across multiple continents. Adding motorcycles to their lineup requires minimal investment. They are not building new infrastructure, they are using what already exists. Then there is the innovation problem. When was the last time a Japanese manufacturer released a genuinely new platform? The Big Four have been iterating on existing designs for years. The Yamaha R1 platform is over 20 years old. The Honda Goldwing has not had a major redesign since 2018. Suzuki has not updated the GSX R1000 in nearly a decade. These companies are not innovating. They are managing existing product lines and cutting costs where possible. European brands are not much better. Ducati releases new models, but they are variations on existing platforms. BMW's Boxer engine has been in production since the 1920s. Triumph updates styling and electronics, but the fundamental architecture stays the same. There has been no urgency to innovate because there was no competitive pressure. Until now. Chinese manufacturers do not have legacy platforms to protect. They are starting fresh with modern design and current technology. That is a clear advantage. They are not trying to update a 20-year-old platform to meet current standards. They are building new bikes from scratch using the best available technology. The pricing gap cannot be justified anymore. You cannot charge $25,000 for a touring bike when a Chinese equivalent costs $12,000 and offers the same features. The phrase "you get what you pay for" only works if the cheaper bike is actually worse. If it is not, you're just overpriced. Resale values are the next problem. Once Chinese reliability is proven over the next few years, used European bike values are going to drop. Why buy a used BMW K600 for $18,000 when you can buy a new Souo S2000 for the same price with a warranty? The used market for premium European bikes is about to collapse. Market share numbers back this up. Chinese manufacturers already dominate Asia. They are the largest producers of motorcycles globally by volume. Now they are targeting Europe and North America with premium products. The response from legacy brands has been to cut features and reduce costs instead of innovating. That is not a strategy. That is retreat. The motorcycle market hierarchy just got destroyed. Premium features are not premium priced anymore. Chinese manufacturers have proved you can build high-specification bikes at reasonable prices using modern manufacturing and scale advantages. The choice ahead for riders is simple. Pay for the badge or pay for the bike. Which Chinese bike would you actually consider buying? Drop a comment. Subscribe so you do not miss the next wave of announcements, because this market shift is accelerating fast.